There is a moment in every celebrity scandal where the audience realizes something uncomfortable. Not anger, not disappointment, but the sudden awareness that what they believed was real may have been carefully staged from the very beginning. In the entertainment industry, love is not always an emotion. Sometimes it is a product, a storyline, a strategy designed to trigger loyalty, spending, and obsession. And nowhere is this more refined than inside China's celebrity machine. When Zhang Tianai rose to fame almost overnight, the public believed they were watching a modern fairy tale unfold. A breakout actress, a perfect on-screen romance, an off-screen chemistry that felt too natural to fake. Interviews hinted at intimacy. Public appearances were timed with surgical precision. Fans filled the gaps with hope, devotion, and emotional investment. But behind the smiles and synchronized schedules, a quieter question lingered, one few wanted to ask out loud. What if the relationship was never meant to last? Because it was never meant to be real. As the lines between promotion and personal life blurred, Zhang Tianai's rise became inseparable from a love story that powered her visibility, her commercial value, and her position in the industry. Yet when that story began to crack, the fallout was swift and unforgiving. Denials replaced hints, fans turned into critics, and the same system that elevated her began to quietly step back. This is not a story about romance gone wrong. It is a story about how intimacy can be manufactured, how emotions can be leveraged for fame, and how the cost of playing along is often paid later in silence. Because in this industry, fake love doesn't just sell dreams, it leaves very real consequences behind. Before Zhang Tianai became a recognizable face on billboards and streaming platforms, her name barely registered inside China's overcrowded entertainment system. She did not debut with powerful backing, nor was she launched as a protected industry darling. Like thousands of young actresses chasing relevance, she entered the industry quietly, taking small roles that offered exposure but no security. In a market where youth is currency and visibility is survival, being talented was never enough. What mattered was momentum, and Zhang Tianai did not have it. Casting decisions moved fast, trends changed even faster, and actresses who failed to break through early were often replaced without warning. The system did not reward patience, it punished obscurity. Behind the polished smiles and public optimism, the pressure was constant and unforgiving. Each year without a breakout role narrowed her options. Each missed opportunity made her more replaceable. In China's entertainment industry, invisibility is not neutral, it is dangerous. This is the reality many foreign audiences never see. Before fame, actresses are not building careers, they are racing against time. And the industry offers shortcuts to those willing to take them. Zhang Tianai's early career reflected this quiet desperation. She was present, but not essential. Working, but not rising. Known within casting circles, yet unknown to the public. Without a defining moment, she risked being permanently categorized as background talent, a label that is nearly impossible to escape once attached. This is where the machinery of modern celebrity steps in. When acting alone cannot generate traction, narrative replaces performance, image replaces craft, and personal life becomes content. In this ecosystem, romance is not private, it is strategic. A well-timed emotional storyline can do what years of auditions cannot. It can manufacture relevance overnight. For Zhang Tianai, the turning point did not arrive through critical acclaim or gradual recognition. It arrived through alignment, a project that exploded unexpectedly, a co-star who fit the public fantasy, and an industry that understood exactly how to turn chemistry into currency. But this moment did not happen by accident. It happened because the system needed a heroine, and she needed visibility. When opportunity finally came, it arrived wrapped in expectation. Not just to perform, but to embody something audiences could emotionally attach to. The question is not whether Zhang Tianai wanted fame. Everyone in the industry does. The real question is what choices remain when the clock is running out, the system is watching, and the fastest path forward demands more than talent. It demands participation in a story that may no longer belong to you. Because once the narrative begins, stepping out of it is far more dangerous than stepping in. When Go Princess Go premiered, it was never meant to become a phenomenon. The production was modest, the budget limited, and expectations low. Yet, within weeks, the series exploded across streaming platforms. Driven by its unconventional humor, viral scenes, and an audience hungry for something different. As viewership surged, the industry's attention shifted rapidly, not just toward the show, but toward the dynamic between its two leads. Zhang Tianai and Sheng Yilun were suddenly everywhere together, not accidentally, strategically. Interviews highlighted their natural chemistry. Behind-the-scenes clips lingered just long enough to suggest intimacy without confirmation. Promotional photos placed them close, but never definitive. The ambiguity was the hook. Fans began connecting dots that had been deliberately scattered for them. Online discussions turned speculative, then obsessive. What started as audience imagination quickly became emotional investment. This was the moment the CP narrative was born. In China's entertainment economy, CP marketing is not an afterthought. It is a tested formula. When a drama hits, the pairing becomes the product. The story does not end with the final episode. It continues in variety shows, magazine spreads, live appearances, and carefully worded interviews that keep the fantasy alive. Zhang Tianai's public visibility increased at a speed her acting career alone had never achieved. Her name trended alongside Sheng Yilun's. Their appearances were synchronized, their schedules aligned, their public distance carefully calibrated. Too close invites confirmation. Too far kills the illusion. The balance was precise. Every gesture felt spontaneous. Every coincidence felt romantic. And none of it felt accidental. To the audience, it appeared organic. To the industry, it was textbook execution. The power of this pairing was not just emotional, it was commercial. Brands prefer stories. Platforms reward engagement. Media thrives on speculation. A perfect couple generates all three. Zhang Tianai's value skyrocketed, not because she had suddenly become a better actress, but because she had become emotionally relevant. Fans were no longer just watching her. They were rooting for her, defending her, projecting themselves onto her perceived happiness. This emotional attachment translated directly into clicks, endorsements, and leverage. The relationship narrative became inseparable from her rise. And this is where the illusion becomes dangerous. Because once the public believes a love story is real, walking it back feels like betrayal. The industry understands this risk, yet continues anyway, because the rewards come fast, and the consequences arrive later. During this period, Zhang Tianai rarely spoke directly about her private life. She did not need to. Silence allowed the narrative to grow without accountability. Every denial was avoided, every confirmation delayed. The story fed itself. Fans did the work, media amplified it, and the system benefited from the momentum. But beneath the surface, pressure was building. The longer the illusion lasted, the harder it would be to dismantle. Expectations rose, boundaries shrank, and the line between promotion and reality blurred beyond recognition. What had started as a career catalyst was becoming a trap. Because in the CP economy, timing is everything. Exit too early and you lose the benefits. Exit too late and you inherit the backlash. And somewhere between success and saturation, Zhang Tianai was approaching that invisible line. By the time the perfect couple narrative reached its peak, the transformation in Zhang Tianai's career was undeniable. Her visibility had shifted from rising actress to marketable star, and the change was not subtle. Endorsements followed attention. Invitations followed headlines. Media outlets that had once ignored her now framed her as a symbol of modern romance and success. This was not coincidence. In China's entertainment economy, emotional narratives convert directly into commercial power. A celebrity who carries a believable love story is no longer just a performer. They become a lifestyle product. For brands, this matters. Romance sells trust. Trust sells consumption. And Zhang Tianai, paired with Sheng Yilun, had become emotionally bankable. This is the core logic behind CP marketing. It is not about confirming relationships. It is about maximizing emotional engagement without assuming legal or reputational risk. The industry does not need the couple to be real. It needs the audience to believe they might be. This uncertainty is the engine. It fuels discussion, speculation, and constant online presence. Every public appearance becomes content. Every glance becomes evidence. Fans analyze expressions the way investors analyze markets. And as long as the narrative remains unresolved, engagement never drops. Zhang Tianai's commercial value during this phase reflected that mechanism perfectly. Her projects gained attention before release. Her endorsements leveraged her image as a woman loved and chosen. The relationship narrative softened her public persona, making her appear more relatable, more aspirational, and more emotionally accessible. This emotional accessibility is crucial. In a competitive market saturated with talent, likability is often more valuable than skill. But this business model has an expiration date. The moment a CP narrative collapses, the same emotional investment that built a star can turn hostile. Fans who feel manipulated respond with anger, not indifference. The industry understands this, yet continues to deploy the strategy because short-term gains outweigh long-term stability. For Zhang Tianai, the rewards were immediate, but the cost was deferred. As the pairing dominated headlines, her individual identity began to blur. Interviews focused less on her work and more on her personal life. Questions shifted from craft to chemistry. The narrative that had elevated her now began to define her. This is the hidden danger of fake love economics. It creates visibility while quietly eroding autonomy. Once an actress becomes inseparable from a storyline, she loses control over how and when it ends. And unlike scripted drama, real audiences do not accept sudden rewrites. Any attempt to reclaim privacy risks being framed as deception. Silence is interpreted as confirmation. Clarification is treated as denial. There is no clean exit. As speculation intensified, pressure mounted behind the scenes. Managing expectations became a daily calculation. Every appearance required restraint. Every statement required approval. The relationship, real or not, had become an asset too valuable to mishandle. And yet, no asset lasts forever. Trends move on, new pairings emerge, attention shifts. When that happens, the industry does not mourn, it pivots. And those left holding the emotional fallout are often the celebrities themselves. For Zhang Tianai, the question was no longer whether the love story would end. It was how much damage would follow when it did. The collapse did not arrive with a dramatic announcement. It came quietly, through absence, hesitation, and words that no longer aligned with the story audiences had been sold. As schedules stopped overlapping and public appearances grew infrequent, speculation intensified. Fans noticed the shift before the media did. In an ecosystem built on emotional surveillance, distance is never invisible. When questions finally surfaced directly, both Zhang Tianai and Sheng Yilun responded the only way the system allows when a narrative has gone too far: denial without confrontation. They insisted there was no romantic relationship, no confession, no breakup. Just a flat refusal to confirm what millions had already internalized as truth. For fans who had invested time, money, and emotional energy, this was not clarification. It was betrayal. Online sentiment shifted rapidly. Support turned into suspicion. Analysis turned into accusation. Archived interviews were dissected. Old photos reframed. Every smile retroactively labeled manipulation. The illusion that once protected Zhang Tianai now worked against her. In the CP economy, denial is never neutral. It is interpreted as damage control. The backlash was not only emotional, but reputational. Zhang Tianai's image fractured into competing narratives. To some, she was a victim of industry pressure. To others, a willing participant who benefited from deception. The nuance was lost in the noise. Social media does not reward complexity, it rewards blame. Media outlets adjusted their tone accordingly. Coverage that once celebrated her rise began questioning her credibility. The same system that amplified the love story quietly stepped back, allowing the controversy to burn without intervention. This is the unspoken rule of celebrity machinery. When a narrative stops generating profit, responsibility is externalized. There were no public apologies, no acknowledgments of strategic PR. The burden fell entirely on the individuals involved. Zhang Tianai faced a recalibration of her career trajectory. Projects continued, but the momentum had shifted. Interviews became cautious. Public perception cooled. The label of PR-driven popularity lingered, difficult to erase once attached. For Sheng Yilun, the consequences were quieter but similar. The CP that once defined their relevance had dissolved, leaving both to rebuild separate identities in an audience that now viewed intimacy with skepticism. What made this collapse particularly damaging was its predictability. Industry insiders had seen it countless times. CP narratives rise fast, peak quickly, and end messily. Yet the cycle repeats because each generation of actors believes they can manage the fallout better than the last. They rarely do. For Zhang Tianai, the cost was not cancellation, but containment. Her career did not end, it narrowed. Opportunities became conditional. Public trust became fragile. And the emotional capital she once carried was spent. The illusion had served its purpose. Fame was achieved. Visibility secured. But the exit left scars. In an industry that thrives on manufactured intimacy, authenticity becomes collateral damage. And once audiences feel deceived, they do not simply move on, they remember. The collapse of the love story did not destroy Zhang Tianai's career. It exposed the system that shaped it. And in doing so, it revealed a truth few stars are willing to admit. When fame is built on illusion, the reckoning is never a surprise. It is only a matter of timing. By the time the dust settled, the most revealing detail was not who denied what or when. It was how familiar the entire pattern looked to anyone who had watched China's entertainment industry long enough. Zhang Tianai's case was never an exception, it was a demonstration. Fake relationships do not emerge from impulsive decisions or accidental chemistry. They are engineered outcomes of a system that rewards emotional manipulation while shielding itself from accountability. CP marketing exists because it works. Platforms gain traffic. Brands gain narratives. Agencies gain leverage. And when the illusion collapses, responsibility quietly evaporates. No press release admits orchestration. No executive steps forward to explain timing. The public is left to assign blame to the faces they recognize. This asymmetry is the system's greatest protection. Celebrities absorb the consequences. The machinery remains intact. For actresses like Zhang Tianai, the choice is rarely framed as truth versus deception. It is framed as survival versus obscurity. Refusing to participate does not preserve purity. It risks erasure. In a market saturated with younger, cheaper, and equally capable talent, hesitation is punished. The system does not force compliance openly. It incentivizes it subtly. Opportunity appears attached to narrative. Visibility arrives bundled with expectation. And once participation begins, withdrawal becomes nearly impossible without damage. This is why the question of guilt is ultimately irrelevant. Whether Zhang Tianai actively embraced the strategy or reluctantly followed it matters less than the environment that normalized it. The industry does not ask if a relationship is real. It asks if it is convincing. It does not measure honesty. It measures engagement. And in that calculus, emotional truth is expendable. The audience plays a crucial role in sustaining this structure. Fan culture rewards speculation. Media monetizes ambiguity. Silence is interpreted as confirmation. Every interaction feeds the cycle. When backlash arrives, it is framed as public judgment rather than systemic failure. This framing protects the architects of the illusion, while pitting audiences against performers. Zheng Tianai's trajectory illustrates this perfectly. Her rise depended on emotional alignment. Her setback followed emotional disillusionment. The system neither defended her nor condemned her. It simply moved on. New pairings replaced old ones. New narratives filled the space. The lesson was absorbed quietly by the next generation of actors watching from the sidelines. Fake love is not a scandal because it violates moral standards. It is a scandal because it exposes how intimacy itself has become transactional. When affection is treated as content, sincerity becomes risk. And when careers are built on perceived romance, truth becomes negotiable. The system survives because it is efficient, not because it is ethical. Zheng Tianai's story is not about a relationship that wasn't real. It is about an industry that never expected it to be. The real deception is not the love story itself. It is the belief that those inside the machine are ever fully in control of the narratives attached to them. When audiences look back on scandals like this, the instinct is often to search for a villain, someone to blame, someone who crossed a line. But Zheng Tianai's story resists that simplicity. There is no single moment where deception begins or truth ends. There is only a system that rewards performance over authenticity and speed over stability. Fake relationships thrive, not because celebrities are dishonest, but because the industry has learned how to monetize belief. In that environment, love becomes a tool, silence becomes strategy, and denial becomes damage control rather than honesty. What lingers after the headlines fade is not outrage, but discomfort. The realization that emotional investment was not invited, but engineered. That the feelings audiences defended so passionately were never meant to be protected. Zheng Tianai did not disappear after the illusion collapsed. She continued working, adapting, recalibrating. That, in itself, is revealing. The industry does not punish participation. It punishes failure to transition quietly. And in many ways, survival requires accepting that some narratives will be written for you, whether you agree with them or not. The question left behind is not whether the relationship was fake. It is why audiences are still encouraged to treat celebrity intimacy as proof of character. If romance can be manufactured, so can sincerity. If affection can be timed for promotion, so can authenticity. And once that line is crossed, everything becomes content. In the end, fake love does not damage the industry. It strengthens it. It trains audiences to consume emotion without accountability and teaches performers that boundaries are negotiable. Zheng Tianai's story is a reminder that fame built on illusion is not unstable because it is false. It is unstable because it demands belief without consent. And the next time a perfect couple appears on screen, the real question may not be whether they are in love, but who benefits most if you believe they are.